Hi everyone, my name is Mark Fridemos, a holistic health practitioner. And today I'd like to talk to you about the benefits of sleep on the immune system. So, the immune system is quite a hot topic right now, quite important to have a really strong immune system. So we're going to go through a couple of key points on how it can really benefit you, and then we're going to go through some challenges and then some tips on how to get a good night's sleep. Okay, so the main thing that's happening when you're sleeping with the immune system is parts of your immune system actually rev up and they start fighting off things. At the same time, you have a lot of learning and memory consolidation. So you build a really good immune memory. So when you get certain foreign invaders, such as bacteria and viruses, different toxins from the environment, your immune system's able to recognize and react accordingly if you have a history of having a really good night's sleep. So excellent for the immune system, excellent for your immune memory. At the same time, if you choose to get a vaccination, some studies have shown that the immune response soon after vaccination is a lot better after you have a few good nights sleep. So there was a really interesting paper recently published by The Lancet, which cited studies with the influenza vaccine and the hepatitis B vaccine, and basically the immune response was a lot better, at least in the short term, soon after having the vaccination. Other benefits of sleep, which aren't quite immune related, but people are actually pretty interested in, is when you're sleeping, a lot of your human growth hormone is released. And human growth hormone is vital for repair in the physical body, excellent for building muscle mass, excellent for cutting into your body fat a little bit. So it's an amazing hormone to have released while you're sleeping. The other thing is that if you're lacking sleep, it can really dysregulate your hunger hormones. So if you can think that if you're not getting much sleep, your body's actually going to gravitate towards getting energy from somewhere else. So normally people will start to overeat to try and just get that energy, normally towards carbohydrate and more sugary foods. So that's another reason why it'd be really good to get a good night's sleep. So, what do I recommend? For adults, I recommend 7 to 9 hours per night. Teenagers, 8 to 10 hours per night, and then it kind of just goes down the scale from there. At the same time, we're not looking for like 100% perfection here. I personally probably don't get my 7 hours, maybe about one night a week, and I'm okay with that, I'm comfortable with that. But we're talking about a general guideline here. Okay, so that's the benefits of sleep. Now, what are some of the challenges? Well, there's a few, but I've listed my top 3 that I've seen, working with clients now for over 5 years. So the first challenge I'm going to talk about is stress. So when you're stressed, you pump certain stress hormones. Okay, so when you're pumping those hormones, like especially cortisol has an inverse relationship with melatonin. So if you're pumping a lot of cortisol, it will actually suppress your melatonin a little bit, which is your sleep regulation hormone. The second one that I've seen is actually, interestingly, boundaries. So what is that? So that's your ability to say yes and no to circumstances that really suit you. Okay, so where do I see people breaking their boundaries? Well, I see people breaking it, performing shift work when they necessarily don't enjoy that work. I have worked with people that do shift work and they love that work, and that's something that you just manage. That's a bit of a risk-reward ratio scenario. But some people really struggle to say no, and they're happy to sacrifice their sleep to please others. So a classic would be where parents can really, overparent and want to be with their kids for every inch of their homework and every inch of their assignments that are due. And that's a matter of going, hey, look, maybe you just need to pull back a little bit, need to talk about having a little bit more faith, a little bit less control, and taking care of yourself a little bit. So a little tip, maybe not quite related to sleep, but with boundaries, is that if you can establish really good boundaries in a reasonable way, that is an excellent way to give you self-love and self-appreciation, because you're doing the right thing for you, albeit in the constructs of society. So that's around boundaries. Another thing can be even boundaries on yourself, where people can go down, a real research rabbit hole late at night, or a real social media rabbit hole late at night, or watching late night television. Those kind of things, ideally you could slowly wean off. They're not normally really productive hours. And then the last one is actually blood sugar management. So what does that mean? So when you have food, you eat it and it's converted into energy that's then, going around your body, giving energy everywhere. So if your meals are kind of very sporadic, or if you're not quite having the right meals for your constitution, your blood sugar levels can just really go up and down. So when your blood sugar levels are going really up and down throughout the day, they can actually do that throughout the night. So an example of that would be, maybe skipping breakfast and then being starving and really lacking energy, then gravitating towards high carbohydrates, and all of a sudden you get this massive spike, and then all of a sudden you get this crash. So that's an example of like blood sugar levels going everywhere. If that happens while you're sleeping, that can trigger a stress response. It triggers a stress response during the day as well. When your blood sugar levels crash, it can trigger a stress response, especially cortisol, and it's like, all right, we need to go get some food, we're stressed here. So that can also throw off people's sleep as well. Finally, some tips around getting a good night's sleep. Some people really struggle. So the first thing you want to do is try and manage your stress as best as you can. There's many tools around that. There's, meditation. You can write out some things just before you go to bed. Essential oils can be really good. All those things can really help with stress. Second one would be boundaries. That's a little bit of a self-awareness thing. I personally think it's good to work, with a coach of some kind to sort of help you establish boundaries. And then the third one around blood sugar management, again, that might require, a little bit of trial and error, having protein, fat, and carbs that help you last for about at least 3 hours, or working with a nutritionist or someone like myself to help you with that. Other things can also be, a really dark room, minimal electronic exposure throughout the night, and you could even use earthing type products. So there's a few tips on how to get a good night's sleep. If you need help with any of that or any health goal at all, feel free to go to my website and get in touch.